Welcome everyone to week 4 of our weeknight Fair Park Crit series. This is the B race Cat 3-4. I did not do week 3, that's why the jump, but I'm coming off 2 second places in week 1 and 2 in this, so hoping to get away with a win. That's kind of been my goal all year, so that's the plan for today. I have 2 teammates. You can see on the right, both of them in the green. They were going to cover moves for me for the first half so that I could attack in the second half when things are a little bit tired. So here we are 10 minutes in. Some attacks are starting to go. You can see those couple guys are off the front. A couple more are bridging up. My dad is actually in this group, who's a teammate of mine, obviously. So that's covered. I'm just sitting on. I have another teammate up there too to jump on anything if they need to, if anyone dangerous is going up the road. Nothing too serious is going on right now, but still have to pay attention. Don't want, small group to get away. There's my dad on the right, kind of off the front solo. You don't want a small group to get away and get so far ahead that you can't bring him back by the end. So, got to be careful. But dad's off the front right now. That's just giving me a free ride. Other people are tiring themselves out chasing. So, it's an advantageous position for me to be in right now. So I'm just sitting and chilling. Effort for me is not that high. Heart rate's in the 140s. That's almost recovery. It's like endurance riding, so still pretty easy for me at the moment. Just been sitting in the hole first 10, 12 minutes, 11 minutes, however far in we are. But you can see another guy looking like he might be trying to bridge up there. For this guy in the white, no, he sits up. You can see behind, there we are, this guy in the blue on the right-hand side on the edge of the road. He attacks to bridge up to my dad, and you'll see he's going pretty hard. He makes it across. Makes it a group of 2 up there, which kind of helps out too. Allows them to stay away longer with more firepower. Other teammate goes to the front to just kind of start setting a false tempo. Let them get an even bigger gap. Here we are, this is turn 4, rolling into the start-finish. You'll see it's right up here. I'm still just sitting in, biding my time. I know I have a teammate and the other guy's not very dangerous, so things are still looking pretty good for me. Here we go, this guy jumps. We just let him go. He gets away solo, or starts to bridge up solo, and he ends up making it, so that leaves a group of 3 out front with a teammate in, so we're in a good spot. Here we are later on that same lap, and you can see zoomed in, bam, that guy crashes. So the guy who was in 3rd spot in the break just crashed. I guess afterward he found out he had a curb, but hopefully he's okay. He seemed not too bad. He got up. So, but that brought the break down to 2. It was a bit of a weird crash there to crash out of the break, but I guess getting stuck at a crack will do that. So here we are a bit later on the next lap. People are starting to get antsy in bridge. There's one guy in the blue right in front and another guy, he's chasing. So now I gotta start watching things. Don't want to have the group get too big and then I'm not in it, which I'd obviously like to be in a break. So I'm just sitting on this guy. I'm intentionally not coming through, making him do all the work, burning himself. We're 16 minutes in, so getting close to where I kind of like to attack. Still a bit early, but not the end of the world. He's kind of struggling to catch up to the guy who's bridging currently right now. You can see he looks like he's doing a hard effort out of the saddle. I'm still just sitting on doing 200 watts. But now look, there's another crash. Kind of hard to tell, but bam, that guy goes slipping. Hits, his bike goes flying off. More people are plowing into it. There's a big crash, like 10 people, but we didn't see it. We were too far ahead, didn't hear it, didn't even know it happened. But I just, out of this corner, just launch it right here. Feel strung out. We're kind of catching the break. So I'm just almost 700 watts all the way through this start-finish section. Get going fast. This is where I'm trying to make my move and get away. It's either still one guy out front who had just bridged up. I yell at him, trying to get him to come on to give more people, but he just sits up, you can see. But there's one guy on me in here in the black. We actually have a gap right now. It's kind of hard to tell. He's in the way, but yeah, there you can see. We already have a pretty big gap. That was a hard attack. and guys were tired and they let us go. So at this point, we're pretty much full gas. You can see 33, we're just at 34 miles an hour. We gotta try to open this gap quick. We already have a big one. I didn't know, I wasn't looking back, but he pulls through this corner, then I come around him. Working well together so far, no issues there. I'm pulling through hard, 400 watts, 380. So I mean, we're going really hard right now, trying to just establish this gap. We'll obviously have to ease it off soon. You can't hold this pace for very long, but it's good to get a big gap quickly, and they can't just jump across you in half a lap. They really have to get a good chase. So I gap him off a bit here, kind of unintentionally. I wait for him, and I didn't know it was gapped off, so I'm just thinking he has to come through, but I can kind of tell at this point he's getting tired. That was kind of a big effort for him, as you could tell, kind of getting gapped off out of that corner. So he doesn't pull for very long. I come through. Now I'm thinking, okay, I'll just take a longer pull, like half a lap, give him a bit of a rest, let he can come through later, and then the two of us can work together good after he recovers a bit. So I'm backed it down to 350 watts, which was down from 400. So here we are coming into turn 4 with a big gap. Can't even see the pack anymore. I'm planning to pull all the way through here and down through the next stretch too. Give him a bit of a break. But you'll see here he just starts letting the wheel go and decides to sit up and wait for the pack. So I'm all solo now. It's not exactly where I'd like to be with 20 minutes left, but is what it is. And I touch a big gap, I just went for it. So I'll speed things up so you can see the effort. But I'm just solo, kind of riding my own pace. I'm down to a kind of sustainable pace, if you want to call it that I can hold the whole time. That first lap was really hard to get the gap, but now it's back into an easier. This section's into a headwind, so I was going pretty hard. You can see the aftermath of that crash there on the left. That whole section, big headwind. Now going through the start finish. Now here we turn into a tailwind. Gets a little bit easier. I was kind of using this downhill for a bit of recovery. See my watts kind of drop a bit, down to 180 there for a bit. I was kind of using that as a recovery before picking it up again here, back into the headwind through this whole section and down this whole straight. So I was kind of trying to do my pacing, not completely even, but go harder on this and easier on the downhill, downwind section, because it's supposed to be more efficient, to go harder when it's slower. So that's what I was kind of doing. So I'll ease it off again here down this hill. Still have pretty good speed, but also not a super big effort, and you're not killing yourself. Wasn't necessarily intentional. I wasn't thinking of that from the start, but I just kind of needed the recovery on that kind of section, the one lap, so I just kind of started doing it more. It was working well. I was keeping the speed high while not burning myself out. I find also, especially junior gears, if I'm really spinning and putting down a lot of watts, it seems to tire me out a lot more and spikes my heart rate, so I'm also trying to avoid that in a long effort. But I'm just going steady. Still 30 miles an hour in that downhill, so not bad. We're inside of 4 laps to go now, so the gap is pretty big. Crosby was giving me time checks. I think he said up to 80 seconds at one point, so that's over half a lap. So getting to this point, I know I pretty much have it unless I completely implode. That's too big of a gap to bring back even a solo guy. There's almost no way. That was 3 laps to go. At this point, the effort was really starting to burn. I was wishing that was 1 lap to go, not 3. You can see I'm going easier and easier on that downhill, trying to recover more and more as I'm getting tired. No, I can't quite sustain the effort. But I was still going pretty hard down this whole section with it being the headwind, just trying to keep the speed up, go as fast as possible for the same average watts to maximize my gap. I was also focusing on being really aero. You can't really tell with where the cameras are, but I was trying to get nice and low and make Dan Bigham and all those geeky aero guys proud, I guess. But it was just a hard, steady effort. 2.5 laps to go right here. So the gap is still pretty big. It's starting to come down now. I think it was closer to maybe minute at this point, down from like 80 seconds with like 3 or 4 laps to go. But I knew as long as I could just keep going, as long as I don't completely blow up and have to like completely sit up and soft pedal, I'll be just fine. 2 laps to go now. Heart rate's still pretty high, almost 190. It's been like that pretty much pegged the whole time. It's kind of a tough effort because you're spiked right at the start with that big attack. There's no easing into it, you know. It's like you're easing into an interval. It's steady the whole time. It doesn't start all out, but this starts all out, so it's really hard to sustain the same power. I think I did close to 260 for 20 minutes and like 280 for the first 10. So you can tell I was really hurting. Here we are, 1 lap to go. Just trying to make it to the end now. Gap is still pretty big. It's like 50 seconds. So I know I have it at this point. There's no way they're catching me, and I was super excited with this. First B race win. I was second like 3 weeks in a row, and on the podium 4 weeks in a row if you include last year. So to win solo, I was super happy with. Here we are coming up to the finish. After this section, I'll just kind of ease off. You know, I have it in the bag. Did a little victory celebration, I think. Not much though. Yeah, here we are back to regular speed. Just cruising in easy. So that was a super exciting race for me to get a win like that. I was super happy with that. It was a fun one too, winning in style. So if you enjoyed this, be sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye.